Cue the conversation.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Q the Conversation. Paul and me are excited to be back. Paul, we got a really interesting guest today. We're going to cover the gamut, all about her, and I'm really excited for this one. I don't know about you.
I am too. Let's just say we're going to have more amazing content and everything, no pun intended, with our special guest that's going to join us. And Bryson, it's amazing just how assistive and adaptive technologies have helped you and I to just have a career, be able to have some measure of independence. And I'm so excited to talk to our guest about that, about how she's using different assistive technologies to do some pretty amazing things. And I also heard, Bryce, that she is a gamer.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, she's a big fan of gamers. Also, she's also a big dog fan as well. So excited to talk all about that. But yeah, Paul, you mentioned it. System technology is so important, and it really, helps us with not just equality but equity as well. And that's so important in this day and age. And I know, Paul, we've seen a lot of technologies come and go that have been helpful, and all this new technology that even people at Quantum Rehab do a great job of making that make life so much easier. And I'm really excited about the future of that as well, and to hear what our guest has to say because she's working in kind of a different sphere of accessibility, but all accessibility spheres are really important as well. But Paul, so we were talking about before. Right now, there's a lot of great movies out. It's been a while. I'm waiting on some good ones. There's a lot of good superhero movies out there. What are your thoughts so far? What are you seeing on the movie landscape?
Well, you know what? Before I unload on you with all this movie jargon, let me just say, you who are out there listening, do us a favor. If you can like, subscribe, hit the notification on all these amazing episodes, it'll help me and my buddy B Frost, to be able to continue to do this and share this message with you. We appreciate all your help. So B Frost, let me go to the movies now. Here we go. Um, can you believe I haven't seen any movie yet this summer? I haven't watched Superman. I haven't did the new Jurassic Park. I haven't done none of them. I'm old, man. So you can call me sir today, okay? Because I haven't even seen any movies. What about you?
Well, the last one I went and saw was on 4th of July, actually, and it was F1. And man, Paul, that was a great movie. Me, I'm a big racing fan. Grew up a NASCAR fan. Being in Charlotte, it's the heart of NASCAR country. But F1 is also one racing discipline that I've dabbled with recently, and that was a really phenomenal movie. You do not have to be a racing fan to get into that one, which is really great. Now, Superman, I've been trying to get into that one, trying to go see that one, but I just keep getting so busy, I haven't been able to. But man, I've heard some really great reviews. And as me being a comic fan, specifically DC, it's been a while since we've had a movie to kind of be excited about. The reviews are great on that. But also on the other side of things, Paul, coming out this week, Marvel's got a movie to rival that with the Fantastic Four. And for a lot of moviegoers and fans of Marvel, this has been a long time coming for sure.
Yeah, that is so true. And I am a huge Marvel guy. I love DC. You and I are the same. We like DC, we like Marvel. We definitely like it all. And sir, if you could be, oh, for you listening right now, watching, Bryson turned another year older. So now he's in the Sir Club now. So now I call Bryson Sir. So sir, if you could be any superhero, what superhero would you be?
Mm, that's a good question, Paul. But the answer is pretty easy for me. Now I'm a big Batman guy, but I'm not going with Batman. That seems a little bit too easy, too clear cut. I'm more of a Nightwing kind of guy. His protege, the first Robin, Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing. It's always been one of my favorite characters. I had a friend of mine years ago give me a year one Nightwing graphic novel, like all the editions. And so that really fueled my love for that character. I mean, he's just fun loving. He's all over the place. And I guess for us, not having as much mobility as we would like sometimes, being able to kind of have the acrobatic skill would be nice, I think, personally, in my life. But that's who I would have to choose. What about you, Paul? I'm excited to hear this take. I'm sure you got some hot takes fired up for me.
I sure do. I sure do. But to piggyback off what you said about Nightwing, it would really be nice to have a Timmy arc movie. You know what I mean? Finding about young Timmy at a young age and everything. I think that would be really awesome. So I feel you on that. Now, Bryson, for me, it's none other than Professor Charles Xavier. Can you imagine a chocolate fine looking Charles Xavier with the beard with salt and pepper in it, just having the bald head and just like having cerebral let me just do my thing. That's me, man. I want to be cast as the new Charles Xavier, man. That's what I want to do, man. So that's me, man. His wheelchair is so cool that, I went to Comic-Con recently and I was there doing some journalism stuff and some content out there. And I always said I wanted to cosplay as Professor X, Charles Xavier. So next year, be Faust, if you come out to California with me, you can cosplay as Nightwing. I'll cosplay as Charles Xavier, and we'll have a blast. What do you think about that?
I think that'll be good. We'll have to reunite the disabled duo, Paul. We'll take on Comic Con. We will do that. But hey, one more thing about movies before we move on. What is your favorite concession at a movie theater?
My favorite concession, well, it used to be gummy bears and popcorn. But since my medical professional had a talk with me back in February about my LBs, because my shirt used to hold my stomach hostage. So she told me I need to cut down on all that stuff. So yeah, but back in the days, man, it was gummy bears mixed with popcorn. That was my jam. What about you?
I didn't mean to rub salt in the wound there, Paul, but for me, man, I love a good nacho. Give me some jalapenos. Used to go to AMC theaters. They had those jalapenos out there next to the butter machine. I used to take 5 or 6 of those into the theaters, man. I was a thief back in the day, but those are good. Give me Dr. Pepper, and we're ready to roll. I think that's the game-winning combination there.
I forgot. You're the Dr. Pepper King. I forgot about that. But hey, Bryson, you ready to have some more fun?
Always. I'm always ready, Paul.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take our break right here. When we come back, we're going to be joined by an amazing individual. She is beautiful. She is talented. She is all the above. We're going to be talking to the amazing Jill Moore. So you don't want to miss that coming up right after these messages. I'm Paul Amadeus Lane, and that sir over there is.
Bryson Foster, and we will be right back.
Quantum Rehab isn't just about mobility, it's about possibility. It's time to rediscover mobility and freedom. At Quantum Rehab, we design cutting-edge power wheelchairs that don't just move you, they empower you. Our advanced technology adapts to your lifestyle, offering unparalleled comfort, precision, and customization. From smooth indoor maneuvering to rugged outdoor adventures, Quantum Rehab ensures you stay in control wherever life takes you. Looking for innovation? Our power wheelchairs feature eye-level technology, giving you the ability to rise up and interact at eye level. Perfect for work, social events, or just feeling on top of the world. With Quantum Rehab, the future moves with you. Visit us at quantumrehab.com and check us out on social media. Quantum, #1 for rehab power.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cue the Conversation. We are so excited to welcome our guest, Jill Moore, to the podcast. Now, Jill is somebody who is making waves in the disabled community and in accessibility. She's based out of Minneapolis, although her hometown is Charlotte, North Carolina, represent. She works for a playground manufacturer and she travels around North America and educates communities and designers on how to make playgrounds more inclusive and what disabilities to consider when designing. She's got a long list of accolades that we will get into. She was in wheelchair racing. She's also a wheelchair user, and she does so many great things. So Paul and I are really, really excited to get to know her a little bit better. So at this time, let's welcome Jill on to the show.
Man,
Jill
no
Moore.
pressure. Y'all make me sound awesome.
What is up, Jill? It is amazing and an honor, to chat with you and to spend this time with you. And you are just an amazing person. And it has nothing to do about you being a gamer as well. But welcome to the show. How you feeling?
I'm so excited. Thanks for having me. I mean, I'm listening to y'all talk about superheroes, and I've decided I've always wanted to be Frozone from The Incredibles.
I love it.
But the other one I might take, I was a huge Avatar: The Last Airbender fan, so any of those will be mine. Oh, for sure. But I was lurking and listening to y'all cut it up, so I'm super stoked to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. And Jill, but before we get into all the different accolades that you have and the impressive resume that you have, when you were diagnosed with your diagnosis, your injury or disability, how old were you, and what were some of the things you had to go through to kind of condition your mind to now be a part of the disabled community? If you don't mind sharing that with us.
Yeah. Whew, out of the gate, heavy hitters. So I was born with my disability. I have spina bifida, and so this is something I've thought a lot about actually, especially in my current career with playgrounds. I moved. As we all know, in the disability community, we moved differently than our peers growing up, right? And um, that was, challenging, like, especially when I think back to my time on the playground, it wasn't somewhere that I would go that would celebrate all of those wonderful things about me. And so, it's little things that I feel like we experience in the disabled community of just, I remember when I was like 4 years old and I gotten brand new hot pink crutches. And I thought like I was the hottest thing in the grocery store. And I'm cruising and this kid stops me and said, "Well, what are those?" And they said, "Well, I was like, "These are my crutches. I'm disabled." And his mom, flew out of the woodwork. Like this woman just like descended from above and said, "Don't say that. Don't ever call yourself that. That's a bad word. You're not disabled. You're handicapable." And I remember just so many of those interactions, of you start to get embarrassed or you think, okay, maybe this is a bad thing or this isn't something I should be proud of or be okay with. And so it was a journey, man, of you kind of get beat down in this world of the medical model of disability where it's all about fixing you and making you more able instead of fixing what tools do you have, fixing do you have adaptive technology? Are you in an environment where you can succeed? Is it designed intentionally? Um, so it's kind of a ride. I think all of us kind of start to experience those microaggressions and they add up and they take a toll on you. But my parents, they were the biggest advocates in the world of play. They thought the value of play for me as a child was just like second to none. We had to do it. So they took me to everything. They told me we were going to get ice cream and they took me to swim practice. They used to do a 150-mile bike ride from Charlotte to Myrtle Beach. And I asked if I could go. And I sat on the back of the bike and I told my dad, "Your mom is so fat" jokes for 2 days. Um, so I think just being surrounded by people who saw the value of play and how that could factor into my identity of there is things I love to do and things I'm really proud of. That kind of shifted back into this like, okay, my disability isn't something I need to be ashamed of. And given the right tools, there's a lot of success that can happen. Did that answer the
Wow.
question? I feel like
Yeah,
I got
he
lost.
did. No, he did a good job, Jill. And we found out, Bryce and I found out a lot about you that you rocked your beat on the playground. Remember the old song? Maybe I'm dating myself. The playground song by ABC. I'm dating myself, and that you know how to bag. Talking about your mama so fat joke. So I'm like, we're finding out so much about you, Jill. Bryson, I think we cracked the code, didn't we?
I definitely think we did. And Jill, you said some very interesting things, and I noticed this kind of language on the website for the manufacturer you work for, where it talks about how play is the universal language of fun. And I think that is so important to kind of hold on to. That play is for everybody. And talking about kind of the idea of play and competition, you kind of have a resume in sports as well. You were in wheelchair racing. You competed in the 2016 Paralympic trials here in Charlotte, all very impressive. Can you describe kind of how your parents setting that example at such a young age led you into saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna compete in sports and I'm not gonna let anything hold me back."
Yeah. My parents, they're the funniest people in the world. Like they're terrible people. Like they've left my wheelchair places because they forgot it. They used to tell me if the ice cream truck was playing music, it meant it was out of ice cream. So they like had angles. They were just I had the best time with my family. They truly saw the value of play and recreation, and we always approach disability and just what my life is like, and that unique experience of being disabled as just like ever educate and never humiliate. And I think that set a really positive tone with a lot of the places that we interacted with. Like when I was in high school, I wanted to compete on my high school track team and I wanted to score points. And North Carolina didn't have a law for that. There was no precedent. And so, just came into this space of like, hey, this is what we want to offer. This is what we want to do. And we want to learn and grow with everyone. We're not going to come in and like demand you do this right now. Instead, we're going to bring resources where we've seen this done. And that's just how they really educated and went into everything of like, let's figure this out together. Let's figure out what works, what's good, what do we celebrate, what do we change. And not just like through sport, I found such a powerful community of people with disabilities and found just, ways to set goals, to travel, to meet people, to find kind of my niche. And so I think just their enthusiasm, it was contagious for a lot of other people, and so we kinda entered this space, and it became something I was really passionate about, and went to college for wheelchair racing, and then, made the USA team in 2015 for Pan American Games and the World Games, and then just missed it for Rio in 2016, but it's really cool to look back and see everything that I was able to do and accomplish because of, again, just having advocates that saw the value of what I was bringing to the table as a kid who needed inclusion and needed play and recreation and sport.
And Jill, to kind of piggyback on the sports theme, how do you feel when someone who is not part of our community comes up to you and say, Jill, I am so inspired by what you do. It is amazing what you do in that wheelchair. How do you receive those type of compliments? Because one thing I know about our community, we're not a monolith. Some get offended by that, some don't. So where do you fall at when it comes to someone recognizing, just your props and giving you props for what you do?
I think it's a scale. I meet people who are doing their thing every single day and it inspires me. My sister, for a very long time, was a single mother raising 3 kids. And for her, she's just out there doing it. And like, I was inspired by that for a while, just like, that's really cool. So I think, I don't know, I can never condemn somebody for finding inspiration if it truly brightens their day and makes a change for them, absolutely. Then I don't want to be the one or the thing to take that away. But also at the same time, it does wear on you when you're like going to buy soup at the grocery store and someone's just praising you for being outside that day. Like that to me is a little, that'll always rub you the wrong way. Cause like I'm out here buying my soup. Of course I'm gonna do this. Like I just truly think I don't think there's a one size fits all. I think sometimes there's interactions you can genuinely see that people do take something away from it because they're learning something new. Maybe they don't know that people with disabilities can go out and do cool stuff. And if that's the case, I'm happy for them to see it and to put that in their brain and build that. But you always do get the comments that you're like, where did that come from? Why did it come from? Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you share that because um, Bryson and I, if someone want to commend us on something, just commend us on how sexy we are. That right, Bryson? We have no problem with that, right? Right, Bryson?
For sure, Paul. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me some more compliments. My sexiness needs to be worshipped, I think.
For real. Y'all are sexy people. That should be worshipped.
Thank you, Jill. That means a lot
Thanks.
coming from you.
Oh, for sure. But no, I did. Like, I have kooky stories. Like, one time I was travel for work, and so I was leaving. I was getting off of an airplane, and it was a 7 a.m. flight. I'm not a morning person. Like, nothing should happen at 7 in the morning. And I slept through the whole flight, and I also believe that, like, my backpack should fit everything I own, and so I was about to embark up the jet bridge with this, like, million-pound backpack, and a flight attendant came and put her hands on my waist and pushed me up the jet bridge going like, "Choo-choo," and I was like, "You didn't even buy me a drink first. I slept through the beverage service, like, this is rude." So stuff like that, like, yes, that is mortifying and awkward and, like, why did you do that? So again, those interactions, it's all so dependent on the person.
Jill, Bryson. This is why I love Jill, man. She keep it 100, man. She keep it a buck, man.
I don't even know what to say to that. I wouldn't even know how to react. Like, Okay. Hey, the Jill train is coming. Nobody can stop it, I guess.
With
Busted into the terminal. The Jill train was there whether we wanted to be or not.
So, kind of staying for me, I know you travel a lot for your job, and we'll get into kind of the specifics of what you do. But I know for me, because I traveled a lot at a point. I know Paul does a lot for work, and all of us, a lot of people with disabilities have horror stories, and you kind of shared one or two there already. So, how do you think kind of accessibility could be improved on airplanes, and maybe just in general for individuals who are, wheelchair bound or people with disabilities?
That's a great question. I think so I'm a religious Delta flyer. Minneapolis is a Delta hub, and I've seen them do a lot of really cool things. Like they had that prototype where someone could roll their power chair onto the plane. That's incredible. I mean, someone told me they were working on it, and I work in the accessibility space, and I was like, no, that'll never happen. And then it did. Like that's remarkable. And I know with Delta, especially they're based in Atlanta. My husband's from Atlanta. I fly in and out of there a lot. And we went into the airport the other day, and there was these gentlemen who greeted us who were like, "Hey, like we just got out of training from the Shepherd Center. That's a rehab center in Atlanta, specifically on different wheelchairs and how to handle them and what do we need to know. So like we want you to know that your chair is in good hands. We respect what you need it. I mean, it's your lifeline, and we respect the money that went into it and the resource that it is." And that felt really cool for someone to just stop and say like, "Hey, I know what you're afraid of here, and we're gonna do our best to make sure that's better." Um, so I think that's very cool. But I mean, obviously, anywhere where we do feel like our equipment is neglected or come out of it and something's broken, like that's terrifying. Like you don't want to be in a new place where you don't know your resources. And a couple summers ago, I was flying back from Barcelona and we were trying to check in, and the flight attendant or the gate agent was just sitting there like something was very wrong, but nobody was saying what it was. And finally, it became super, super clear we were going to miss the flight. And they came over and said that we weren't allowed to fly home because we didn't have an able bodied chaperone. And that is just the most, like, Looney Tune like, I've never heard of anything like that. And it hurt, right? It was like, someone made a snap decision of us, we have very visual disabilities, and someone assumed they know everything that there is to know about us and that we couldn't fly home with them. Um, so Delta had to rectify the situation, it was a whole big ordeal, but I think education in the space of just a lot of people don't necessarily know how valuable our equipment is to us. They don't necessarily know what we can and are able to do and what flying independently looks like. And I think a lot of people make those kind of snap judgments, and unfortunately we get the fallback. And the only thing I think we can keep doing is talking about it and educating and being advocates for like, no, this is how I get around. This is my independence. You gotta really respect that.
No, I'm glad you shared that, Jill, because I remember back in 1997, I was in Miami, flew to Miami, and they broke my chair. And you talking about just being like fish out of a water. I was like, what am I gonna do now? I was like 4 years post injury. So I'm like, what am I gonna do this far away from home? But it just so happened some of the engineers that worked for United, they said, let's see what we can do for you. So they went in there and they fixed like my battery. What happened was they kind of ripped my battery off and ripped the connector from the wire. So they soldered that back and everything. I was able to get back and enjoy my vacation. But it's it's fearful even nowadays with all the technology to fly. And speaking about the different wheelchairs that you use a manual and a power wheelchair. So talk about the dynamic between when to do the manual thing and then when to give it some power and do the power wheelchair.
I That's a really good question because I mean, going back to the first question you asked, Bryson, talking about I mean, I grew up in this world where and I think all of us have felt this to a degree of, like, where people wanted to make you more able. And so for a really long time, like, getting a power chair, it seemed like a scary concession. It seemed like, "Okay, I sure wanna do this." And the day I got it, like, this moment, like, I was crying, I was so excited. I was carrying a cup of coffee to my office, and it was the easiest thing in the world. And all of a sudden, you have this, like, revelation of, like, "Oh my god, like, accessible technology, it doesn't look like one thing, it serves so many people, like, this is a tool that truly makes all of our lives better. And since then, had some really cool conversations with friends of mine who are manual chair users, but are starting to wonder, like, hey, okay, maybe this power chair can absolutely serve me in a lot of ways. So I mean, I'm in my power chair right now. I switch it up all the time. I love it when I'm a Lego fanatic. I like literally built this in my last meeting. Like, ta. But I use my power chair whenever I'm Legoing because I like those like vantage points or I'm putting stuff on display or hanging up Legos, but also just around the house. I mean, taking the trash out or going to walk the dog, or I'm also a huge Pokemon Go player. So I'll take the phone out and cruise in the power chair so I can catch while I'm playing. So there's just so many moments where accessible technology, I mean, it just makes your quality of life just it's really empowering.
You got all the bag of tricks, Jill. I mean, Bryson, Legos. I mean, what don't we know about it, right, Bryson?
I know you are the most interesting person. I mean, the hobbies you have, like, I like it. I like it a lot. I like that you're so well rounded. And I guess, talking about kind of staying in that. So one thing that Keith sent us, who, if you don't know Keith, Keith is one of the guys behind the show. He's doing the heavy lifting for us. Um, you have 3 rescue dogs: Potato Chip, Kiwi, and Stanley Bagel, which love those names. Make me a little bit hungry. Um, and, you said in that, they run the show and you mentioned your husband, but, does your husband indeed come forth behind your 3 dogs?
Don't tell him that, but yeah. Probably like 5th actually, because my parents have a really cool dog too, so he can get in line.
Well, he's a different kind of dog. He's a DAWG, so that
That's
makes
so
sense.
good. I'm gonna tell him that next time he's gotta feel better about being behind the dogs.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
trying to hype
telling you,
him up.
Jill. Bryson is smooth. I'm telling you. B Fost, B Money. Bryson got all the words. He's like so smooth with it.
That was really good.
Yeah, he's like
I learned
amazing.
from
And
I learned from my elders like Paul,
yeah,
so
Jill. He calls me sir. You know, right? He calls me sir.
That's a Southern thing. That's like, "I'd call you
it
sir."
is.
I ran into a pole the other day and called it sir, like, "You're not
No,
special."
I
If that
mean,
makes you feel better.
I mean, call me dude, call me bro, call me man, but never call me sir because I'm like, sir, bro, I'm like
It
that
just comes
old, you know?
out. I know that Brian, so if you're anything like my parents, like, "Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Please." If I forgot to say that somewhere, I had to say that for the whole car ride home. Like, it's so ingrained into just the Southern experience.
Yeah, and you know what? Bryson talked about your dogs that you have and everything. And one other thing we found out about you too, from our man behind the scenes, Keith. Uh, I always say make him scream like I'm Keith. That's an old rap song. You guys can Google that. But you are a gamer. So talk about that love for gaming. I heard you like PlayStation. And I have a I love PlayStation too, but let me talk about your love of gaming.
So I don't know if you remember, Paul. Do you remember when the PlayStation 2 came out and it was like a massive deal and nobody could get it? My dad, his hobby at the time, I wasn't even a gamer. I didn't even ask for it, but my dad's hobby would he would go to Walmart at 3 in the morning, back when they were open 24/7. And he got there one day and they had just stocked the PlayStation. And he asked the guy, he was like, "Is that the thing like everybody wants?" And the guy was like, "Sure is." And so he bought it. And I opened it on Christmas Day. I got, like, Land Before Time, snowboarding, or whatever that one game was for PS1. Um, and then Kingdom Hearts was coming out soon. And so I fell in love with Kingdom Hearts, just gaming in general. So PlayStation was my original love. I tried to get an Xbox. I did my best. I tried to play on it. You would have thought, like, you'd given a controller to one of my dogs. They would have done better than me. So PlayStation and PC is the way I usually go. I'm playing a cozy game right now called Dinkum, where you like build a little town in Australia. Love The Sims, Minecraft. I'm terrible at shooters. When people shoot me, I'm like, why would you do that? I'm literally so nice. So I steer away from those.
Definitely, Bryson and I, we're gonna get together and see if we can get like a big gaming party, virtually and just
LAN
have
party.
some fun.
That'd be
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah, we could definitely do that. Bryson, what would be your game of choice, Bryson, if we did that?
I don't know. I think Fall Guys would be a fun thing because that game is chaos incarnate, anyways. But then you put together, everybody we've interviewed and me and Paul, it would be a mess. It'd be even more of a mess. But Fall Guys
That'd be
is
a
a lot of
great
fun. I'm
mess.
more of yeah. I think it'd be great. I'm more of an Xbox guy though, so sorry to you PS users. I grew up with Xbox 360. Went to the PS3. The PS3 was cool. Did that for MLB The Show, but now I'm back on the Xbox One series.
What are your favorite games? I gotta ask. I gotta ask what the favorite is. Red Dead Redemption was my all-time. Oh, I sobbed.
Red Dead 2, Red Dead 2 for me is one of up there. Paul knows this. I'm a big Batman Arkham series gamer, so played those games religiously. Arkham City, I think I have played that game probably 80 times, 90 times all the way through. So some of those, and also I'm a big sports guy. So like right now, college football 26 is kind of taking up most of my time. So that's the one I've been playing a lot.
And I would say for me, and I'm not trying to see. Bryson is always trying to tell me to quit being so arrogant, and quit like talking about myself so much on these shows. So I'm trying to listen to my elders, Bryson, sir. But when I say my favorite game, and I'm not trying to be arrogant and everything, but it's the game that I worked on, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's my favorite game. And to me, when I first started playing that game, it was not accessible for me. But when Insomniac and PlayStation brought me in to consult on that game, they took some of the things that I was having barriers with, implemented that in the game, and then when it came out, I was like, "This is awesome!" And the coolest thing about it was, and Bryson, I'm sorry, I'm working on my humility. I'm working on my humility. I promise I am. Is when I saw my name in the credits. That was pretty cool. But it's not about me, Jill.
Oh, no,
It's
it's
about
about
you,
you.
nigga.
That's
No,
cool.
no. It's about you, Jill. See, I'm working on my humility. So Bryson, please, I'm a work in project. I'm a work in progress, Bryson. Please
Stop lying on me,
don't.
Paul. I never said that. Stop lying on me. Throw me under the bus.
I'm gonna
Throwing me
go
under the
find
bus.
your
I
name
never
in the
said that,
credits
Paul.
and just be like,
Yeah. No, but Jill, I just want one more question for me, and Jill, that is the industry that you're in. What what kind of made you want to get into that industry to help design, especially playgrounds and other landscaping ideas? What made you gravitate towards that?
dumb luck. I had no interest in it and hadn't thought about it at all. I so when as Bryce said, when 2016, the Paralympic trials, they were hosted in Charlotte. And I mean, it was unprecedented what Charlotte did. Trials had never cycling, field, track, and swimming were all held in the same place, and that had never been done before. So the size of the trials were just like outstanding. Michael Jordan donated a ton of money to it on like the last like a week prior to it happening because there's stuff that wasn't done. So it was just like the town spirit behind those games were just incredible. And there's a conference every year. It's called the US Play Coalition, and it used to happen in Clemson, and now it happens in Bloomington, Indiana. But I was there alongside the city of Charlotte and just talking about, I mean, my story about how valuable play and recreation was, and sport, and everything that all those skills that really gives an individual. And my now employer happened to be sitting in that session, and they invited me to come tour the playground factory, which I did, and it was awesome. And then they called me and they said, "You're hired." And I said, "Cool, for what?" So it had not been on my radar. I studied industrial design in college. And so my passion was I felt like a lot of the times with disability, we get a lot of things that are designed for us, but very rarely with us. And I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I wanted to apply my wherever space I was going. And I really was passionate, actually. I wanted to redesign the urinary catheter. Because in college, I mean, I had a ton of friends who used it, but just the amount of shame around that product. Like I had friends who would rather throw a used catheter back in their purse than put it in like a public trash can. And I thought about that a lot. Of like, I mean, it is just that's a very personal product. And so I was really, really passionate about using those lived experiences to kind of inform a better design. And then I fell into this world of playgrounds where I knew nothing. I mean, I never went to playgrounds. Like, if I went to playgrounds during school, I would sit on the side of the playground and kind of just wish it was over. Or if I got invited to a birthday party at a playground, I told my mom once that I couldn't go. I had paperwork to finish. So, like, I do anything to try to avoid this space because it was never designed to celebrate me. And so I got this job where I was becoming this like champion for inclusive play, and it was really hard for a few years actually because I had to grieve that. I mean, I had to grieve that I never went to this space, and I missed that part of being a kid, and I didn't understand what was so special or remarkable about it. So it was a really just luck would have it journey and a lot of pain and growth, but I mean, eventually one day you kinda just realize, like, no kid should miss play. No kid should be left out because of how they get around or what they need or what their brains and bodies need to be happy, like, we should all be accommodated for.
That's awesome. Sounds very rewarding, Jill. And we know you do a lot of content on IG and other social media platforms. You got to do me this one favor, okay?
Oh boy.
There's an old song that came out a long time ago. It's called "The Playground." It
Okay,
was by a group called ABC.
I'll write
They
it down.
were the name of the group was Another Bad Creation, but they went by ABC. And they had a song called "Playground." So you got to do me a favor. You got to do some content on a playground with that music on the back. Can you do that for a brother?
You got it, man, I wrote it down in my to-do list. It's
I
official.
love it.
We
I
live and
love
die
it,
by the
Jill.
list.
But amazing. So glad you took on that role to, it's like your calling. And no doubt everyone is really appreciating, all your input and your knowledge behind this. Thank you so much. And Bryson, she's awesome when it comes to this, man.
But most definitely. And Jill, something that you've kind of talked about, and I've read about you when I was doing my research for this, is many people have misconceptions about what inclusivity is. And I think for myself, when I look at inclusivity, I think of more people with physical disabilities because that is my lived experience. And like you kind of mentioned, and looking at your company and things like that, you have to take a lot of disability groups into account with your job when you're making these playgrounds accessible. It's not just one group that you can focus on, because there are so many different disability groups out there that have a wide range of needs. So somebody with spina bifida, and you have your own lived experience, how has that opened your eyes kind of to maybe new challenges that are out there for different people, or maybe new ways that people are kind of overcoming those barriers that are put in place?
Um, I think a lot of the times when people hear, "Oh, we want an inclusive playground," people who aren't in the disability space think it's just a playground for kids with disabilities. But inclusive design is not for people with disabilities. Inclusive design is for all of us. That is what is inclusive. That every single one of us, you, me, Paul, we could hit up the playground right now, ABC playing in the background, and we would all want to do different things. Same with if we went with some of our able-bodied friends, they would gravitate towards something else. And that's what's inclusive about it is that there's a just right fit for as many people as we can accommodate for. And a lot of the learning that's happened in this space, especially as autism becomes a more prevalent diagnosis, that kind of sparked a conversation probably about 12 years back of how do we make a playground more inclusive for what does a successful day of play look like for families who may have a kid with autism who maybe is nonverbal or maybe gets really really overwhelmed and dysregulated if there's a lot of sensory input and it's loud and chaotic. So we're thinking really just the gamut of our needs and abilities are ever changing. So designing for sensory disabilities, neurodivergent diagnosis, ADHD even of we it's really cool lately. We've had conversations about how kiddos with ADHD might develop their motor coordination at a different pace. And so they need climbing, they need unstructured play, they need unprescribed play that they have to do a lot of coordination between their brains and bodies and that translates to functional skills like sitting upright in school and being able to use a pencil and just moving around the world. So, I mean, the play space is an extension of the classroom in a lot of ways, and it's really, really valuable to develop skills, especially for kids with disabilities that we might not have regular access to. Like dignity of risk is huge, right? Like if we learn at the edge of our skill set, and I need the chance to make dumb mistakes just like any other kid so I can learn from them. So when we think about disability, it's never one secular thing. It's we're looking at physical, sensory, cognitive, social play, and who has access to that, and how did we create that? Um, it's per community too. Of some communities are saying, "Hey, like we're building this playground for a school, and we don't necessarily have kids in wheelchairs, but we do have kids with Down syndrome and cerebral palsy and autism. How do we create for them?" So there's a lot of really cool design details that come out of this, and just open the door for who we're saying can come, and who do we value to be a part of it.
Jill, that's incredible. I think sometimes when we are working on projects, I mean, we who are in the disabled community who consult, but sometimes we have a myopic view where we're like, only my particular disability. But when we have these responsibilities or these opportunities, we want to speak for the whole community. So we talked about ones who may have some neuro disabilities, ones who have other type of disabilities. We want to make sure that they're included as well too. And I'm so glad to hear you talk about that, because sometimes we get kind of stingy when it comes to our own disability. We're about our own and not others. So we thank you for the way you have this amazing approach to make sure that everyone is really included. Really appreciate that, Joe.
Thank you, and good use of the word myopic. Like this man hit up Webster's before this call.
Well, you know
um,
what? It's funny. I was born in Compton, raised in Long Beach, so I can speak the King's English and I can speak the King's English. So I can go hood and I can go proper at any time. So I
that's
got a million
awesome.
of them.
That's awesome.
I just kind of stayed in my lane when it comes to talking. I have that southern drawl, it's comes out a lot like this. But so, oh yeah, and I think one thing Paul and I like to do, you've talked about all this great stuff that you're doing. Is kind of looking ahead. I think it's really, really important to not just stay in the present or the past, but uh, look forward. So, with this position that you're in, and I kind of feel like I don't want to answer for you, but I feel like I kind of have an idea of where you're going to go with this. But what legacy do you hope to leave behind when people think of you 10, 15, 20 years from now, and they think of all that you've done? What legacy do you hope that you leave behind? What do you hope people remember you by?
I want to know your answer. I want to know if I got to steal that and start putting that into my legacy.
I think for me, for me personally, I want people to know that I was kind and was always there for them and always ready to give advice or a helpful ear. But also that I think some people that I was able to bring awareness to maybe my condition and others as well. But I always like the legacy question. I know it's a deep one, but I think it's really good to talk about. Hey, this is what I hope people think of.
Well, I'm gonna steal that too. I do always want to. I want to be remembered as a champion for what we do. And I mean, you guys, thank you for the praise on what I bring to the space. But I've learned from a ton of people. I mean, I have worked with some really incredible experts. We've hired. We have a junior play team of kids who inform our designs, which is cool because nothing about us without us, right? I mean, we need to be in the process. So I want to be known as a champion for this space, but I also want to be known as just like you said, the power of with I think is really, really powerful in the disability space of working with me to give advice and to I want to amplify. I mean, I meet so many unique people in this space that have never gotten the chance or space to advocate for themselves or what their needs may be. And I'm a loud person in general, but I want to use that to amplify their lived experience so that I mean people can continue to learn. I think um whenever a parent reaches out to me, and a lot of the times it's from a place of frustration that their kid wasn't invited to play or there wasn't a space for them. And they reach out to us, and I'm eager. I'm eager to say, all right, like I hear you. Tell me about this experience. How do we grow? How do we make this better? What do we need to know? And I always want to be that person, the bridge to solution and just on people's side. I really I think that would be something I'd be very, very pleased with. If I'm kicked back 95, reflecting on things, that's what I would want to know that I did.
That's awesome.
That's
Really well
great.
said.
And you know what? I think you're gonna be remember for a lot more, Jill, because you know, you're one of those just good people. And sad to say, in our community, and not our community, but just and not to take away from some of the great things that others are doing, but it's like ones feel like they can't recognize multiples of us at one time. They can only recognize 3 or 4 people in our community and say, "Oh, look, this." I mean, we are like a bouquet of flowers when it comes to just amazing people. There's a lot of us that are doing some amazing things, and that's one thing that Bryson and I and everyone who's involved with the show to make sure that we're cueing the conversation to make sure all these great stories and all these great individuals are being told out there because you are all doing some amazing, amazing, amazing stuff and keep up that great work.
Thank you. There's some, I mean, even just talking to you guys of Bryson, I've never met you before, and Paul, I mean, just everything you do in the video game world and just this advocacy space. I think the more people we see doing like cool stuff, I mean, we get excited about it and we refer to it and we're proud of it. And we pull that, like you said, we pull all those lived experiences together to create a lot more meaningful stories and connect to a lot more people.
That is so true. So true. Well, Jill, I think we have taken so much of your time already. But before we let you go, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience, with the community? Please give out any information you like to give out. The the floor is yours, and I promise I will not make you sing it in the style of Doves Cry, but you can just go ahead and go ahead and do your thing and let us know what's going on.
I'm super stoked to be here. I mean, thanks for having me and just talking about all gaming and inclusion and all the good parts of life, honestly. But no, I think, I mean, I love being a part of the quantum team and just a genuine plug for the people who are involved with it. Of there's so many people with just incredible experiences and stories, and you get to see just the impact. I mean, so much of what I advocate for is giving the people right tools and right environment to succeed. And I think just I mean, the quantum team is so aligned with that, which is always I've joined in 2021. And it's always just really special to see that of just people living their best lives and the technology and environment and tools that allow them to do so. So, I mean, from literally my job to just conversations like these, like it just gets me really excited for disability in our communities and exploring what everyone has to add and how they do their unique things. So, thank you very much for just letting me crash this party and be a part of it.
You can come back anytime,
I'll
right,
be
Bryson?
here. I'll be
Most
colorful
definitely. And Jill,
commentary.
you are the party. You're not crashing it. You are the party. So,
Stop.
but Jill, thank you so much for your time. It's really encouraging to hear stories like yours and all that you're doing. I think for me, somebody who's, grown up with a disability and still with it, same with Paul and I. So it's really, really great. We're really proud of all that you're doing. And like Paul said, we'd love to have you back to hear more about all the great stuff that you're doing later. And if you're ever back in the Charlotte area, your hometown, please give me a shout.
Oh, I'll be there. We'll make a party, we'll land party, we'll call Paul, it'll be a gaming night, it'll be awesome. We'll hit the movies, it'll be a whole thing.
Sounds like a
Well,
plan.
have some
Sounds like a
fun.
plan.
We'll do it.
I'll put it on the books.
Perfect. Throw it on an Outlook calendar.
Did you know Quantum Rehab QLogic 3 controllers can do more than just drive your chair? With Bluetooth, you can connect your controller to computers, tablets, and phones. Take computer gaming to the next level. Make it more accessible and more fun. Quantum Rehab, #1 in rehab powered.
Bryson, I'm telling you, that was a great conversation about Jill and just her journey, and she is so amazing. And Bryson, we have a lot more like Jill who have these amazing stories. That's why I'm so glad we can cue the conversation up and talk about them.
Most definitely, Paul. And I think something also too that's really inspirational about these stories and also really important is that it doesn't just stop with the people that we interview. Some of these people have great ideas, and I think it's a spark for a lot of others to go, hey, you know what? I've had this issue or this barrier that I've had to overcome. So why can't it be me that maybe makes a difference or identify an area of need? And I think that's such a beautiful thing. Is like, it doesn't just stop with the people that we interview. It's a lot bigger than that. And people like Jill, I really like that word champion, right? I don't know why. It's just somebody that, goes above and beyond. And I feel like she's definitely doing that and her sphere as well. And Paul, I don't know about you, but I really like the saying, nothing about us without us. I don't know if that hit you as hard as it hit me, but that's a really powerful tidbit, I think, and a big takeaway for me.
Yeah. And like with me, Bryce, I'm always thinking too much sometimes. And I do like that phrase, nothing about us without us. But then I thought about it. I was like, in this day and age, I think we need to push the conversation towards nothing for us without us. And the reason why I say that is, for instance, Bryson, that you're having a bad day. And I'm thinking about you. You won't know unless I do something for you. So once I do something for you, now I can do something about it and you can reap the benefits of it as well. So I think we reached a Rubicon. I'm using all these big words. I read a dictionary before I came on today. You can tell that I think we need to push that conversation a little bit further. Nothing for us without us. We need to start thinking like that, because for progress, us, we got it. We can do it. And I just want to say this, Bryson. I am so honored to have you as co-host on this journey with me, because you people just don't understand how amazing this young man is right here. Graduated with honors, communications degree. He is an amazing person, and I am honored to always be with him. And so make sure you like, share, subscribe these episodes, share it with your mama, share it with your pa, share it with everybody down in Arkansas. Just share this doggone episode, share these conversations, because we enjoy having it, Bryson. I just want to make sure I told you how appreciative I am to have you on this with me.
That means a lot to me, Paul. And I've always said this. You've always been somebody that I've looked up to. Not calling you old or anything, but somebody that has kind of paved the way for others like myself. And it just means a lot to get to work with you. And the quantum meetings that we have been in over the years, we've always been cracking up. So it's really wonderful to get to tell these stories with you and hear your perspective on things, because you're somebody that I admire a lot and somebody that I respect. And I couldn't think of anybody else better to do this with. So thank you for the kind words. Cue the conversation, man. We're only getting started. We've told a couple stories, but I think we got a long way to go, which is really, really exciting. So I'm excited for the next one, Paul. I don't know about you.
Oh, I am too. Gotta give a shout out to Cool Keith out there. Cool Keith is in the background doing his thing. So shout out to Cool Keith for making all this. We gotta get him a shirt that says Cool Keith. You down for that, Bryce?
I think so. Might have to get him a chain. Might have to get him a hat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's doing all the heavy lifting. We're just on his back. He's taking us through the ride.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for tuning in to hear the conversation. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, share these episodes. We really appreciate it. I'm Paul Amadeus Lane, and that amazing guy right there is
Bryson Foster, and we will see you all next time on Cue the Conversation.
Cue the conversation.